In the last 5 months, I played 5 Metroidvania games, each more interesting and better than the last. First, a game where you play a sexy rock. Why are you starting with like floating in space, romantic alien rock sex? Grime lets you live a fantasy where you are chiseled and everyone else is ugly and jealous of your amazing body. Listen up, you uglies. A beautiful one has arisen from the ugliest of all the broken sky places. You are so sexy that even when you meet fellow good-looking rock people, they get orgasms when they let you steal their mass. Ooh. Even the guys here have heads so large they can't even walk. In Grime, you're such a Chad that you smash your bonfire-like thing and make it your bitch. Why? Because you want to become the center of the universe by becoming a black hole. How? By role-playing as my ex and sucking, I mean absorbing everyone you see. I don't know if I mentioned it before, but I love parry in my video games, and when people have mentioned that you should try it out because it's amazing parry-based combat, why not? Now, if you can ignore the jank of it, it is fun to suck off enemies, and I like that you are encouraged to use this optional parry by rewarding you with perks if you suck off enough enemies. Now, my build perks were of course all centered around parry, like 45% damage boost for 3 seconds if you parry and don't take damage. Now sure, some of the bosses were fun and challenging enough to where I actually died. I don't know what to do there. Stared at that and was like, I'm dead. But the way that parry works in Grime is you stop the attack altogether and then you get a yellow circle to grab them by the balls. That does at least prevent the combat flow from being just dodge and light attacks. But overall, the parry was not engaging at all compared to how it should feel. It's just a binary win-lose button where it takes no effort at all to shut a boss down and win, that unlike how a parry system should be, a dance that flows effortlessly into the animations of the enemies and their movesets and offers risk and reward, not trivializing what should be a good combat system. I was even disappointed in how lackluster the big Unga Bunga weapons were, given how underwhelming they were with their high damage cost, yet not high enough damage, paired with the slow stamina regen that is so goddamn slow that I had to literally pad out this sentence and eventually stop to swap to a weapon that is so much better to prove my point. But the combat being average is the third worst thing Grim does. The second is it uses the finite resources to upgrade your weapons that limits experimentations, but we all just accept this because it's the genre staple for some reason. And I tolerate it even in the good Souls-likes because the rest of the games are usually so fucking awesome. I wish a developer would have the balls to innovate and stop using this lazy and boring game design so this genre can evolve. This form of upgrading sucks because you have to stick to one weapon or look up guides to make sure you don't make a mistake on what weapons to upgrade, and doesn't allow you to experiment without replaying the game. So in Grime, I stuck with the starting weapon that was good enough for over half the game until I finally found this cool weapon at the end to use. But the greatest sin, to put this at the bottom of this fake list, is that while most Metroidvanias give you a double jump near the start to make exploring easy, Grime gives it to you right before the final boss. If that's how it ends, that's horseshit. Talk about a 20-hour edge fest. They expect you to replay the game at New Game Plus to get the true experience. I've yet to replay my favorite Metroidvania Souls-likes. Why would I do that to a game that I found mid as fuck? Despite my many issues, I'm glad that enough people enjoy the game so they can afford to make a sequel, because who knows, maybe they can fix the many issues I have with the game. Do you wish your Metroidvania was an open world bullet hell game? Do you wish you were a cute ship? Do you want me to do this section in ASMR? Mini Shoot Adventures is a game for babies. Unless you play on advanced, it will start to resemble a real bullet hell game. Dude, how? How are you supposed to man? The art style feels like a remastered Flash game that some of you just got the world's biggest nostalgia hit just right about now. Fully loaded! Some of you might be confused that this mobile looking game is somehow better than what most would agree are much cooler and interesting games. But this is my video, Dude, there's so many bullets, man. Okay, fine, you're not a Chad Rock or a Catholic Pencil, so there's nothing in this game that'll make you shit your pants. Since you're a cute little ship that chirps, the unlocks are limited to just boosting, dashing, becoming a jet ski, and destroying rocks with mega bullets. The progression is simple yet satisfying. You start the game shooting one bullet, you end the game shooting many bullets, while dodging many more bullets. Some of them are scary though, and do double damage. You rescue your ship friends and also chirp because cute. You can't even race these loser friends of yours that are way too slow for your piloting skills. So if you're looking to ease yourself into the bullet hell genre like I've been doing to prepare, Mini Shoot Adventures is a great place to start. Also, it's got 0 loading screens, so it's better than Bethesda at fluid open world design. I don't know if you're like me and get games years later while you wait for bug fixes, DLC, content updates, but most importantly, that sweet, sweet discount. So you dive right into Blasphemous 2, the sequel to the Gothic Metroidvania that has some of the best and goriest Gothic art known to man. You start by choosing one of 3 weapons to choose the playstyle that you like. I went Unga Bunga mode. The first few hours though, you do need to collect the other 2 weapons you didn't select that each have a mobility move that on paper sounds great, and then fight 3 tutorial bosses before the game really starts. Okay, that was a really long tutorial, and tying platforming abilities to these 3 weapons means you need to swap just to do basic moves that does not feel great at all, even when you do pull them off. That felt horrendous. You know what, that's just the introduction to the game. You know what, the combat's gonna get more interesting, so with the platforming. Hold on, before we move, I need to make a quick adjustment here. Honestly, I feel like the combat in Grime was better than this game. But then you finally start to see what the game has in store for you, backtracking from one end of the map to the other. I went through this entire section to be told I need to go all the way down here. Why not just start me down here? Now, I know Metroidvanias are literally famous for non-linear exploration, but when there are so many issues that make it tedious, it's not fun. First, you have the introduction of these statues that you interact with to move platforms up or down, and I have to fast forward to save you time because all these sections do is create basic platforms that they know sucks, so they try to add tension with a door that will shut if you don't make it, which never happens. Every time I see a statue, I now dread that I have to stop moving and now slowly move these platforms up and down. It gets worse though, as a lot of times you have to get back to the same spot you were just at. Why do I need to stop platforming to create the platforms like it's Wario Maker so I can continue doing basic bitch platforming? But hey, at least you don't insta-die to spikes anymore in the sequel. You know why I put this behind Grime? Because in that game you also move platforms, but guess how you do it? You grab it, you jump to it, and then move on. No halting of the flow of exploration at all. There is some praise though. The art is the only thing that redeems this game, and there are so many lovely creatures and disgusting humans that look cool if you exclude the same enemies that are just color palette swaps, that when you glory kill them, they look nasty as fuck. But sadly, when it comes to combat, 90% of the enemies all function the exact same way. Melee one-shot at you with either a sword, a candle, a sword, a spear, a sword, basically something pointy with a flying thing randomly thrown in, so they can advertise that you have more than one enemy type. Are there actually more enemies? Yes, but they force you to fight so many of them and not in any creative way that it all blurs together that I eventually was just running past every enemy I could. They don't have any varied movesets or combos beyond just stab once to mix things up. Thankfully, the bosses after these 3 make up for this lack of creative and challenging combat, which is when the game starts to get more interesting. This swordsmith, each quarter phase, will sharpen his sword and spin for longer and faster and jump around to the point it feels like it's an actual boss fight. Then you have this ghost lady where you need to teleport from the edges of the map to avoid this screen-filling attack, and then panic when the safety of having these 2 chandeliers to jump between makes this the best fight in the game. Now, I need to explain something before moving on. I stopped playing this game May 14th, right after this guy, not knowing he's even a boss, because the next day, May 15th, was the release of my most anticipated game of the year. And then Lies of P Shadow dropped right after that, and so then returned after those 2 games to finish up this video and forgot I didn't even complete Blasphemous 2. But obviously I have no desire anymore. It's not what I expected, as for this video, I thought the sequel to a good game would be even better, not worse, and what's even crazier is that the game that I thought would be at the bottom of this fictional ranking here is instead in a twist of fate made by none other than Ubisoft, making a game I would talk positively about, given that I haven't played a game of theirs since the 1800s with Anno, and for you normies, Rainbow Six Siege in 2015 that I played for a few hours. So it seems when Ubisoft actually does something fresh and creative, they get me to buy a game, hence Anime Prince of Persia. I like this direction of Prince of Persia. I don't think you understand how insane this is. Ubisoft made a game, not only good, not only great, but designs that other Metroidvanias need to copy right goddamn now. Like this photo thing to keep track of items you can't get yet with your current abilities. Get those goddamn basic bitch pins out of here. Now you might be saying, we all already knew that Lost Crown was great. Did you not just see how well Blasphemous 2 went over with me, giving its rave reviews by random people on the internet? So far, Prince of Persia is better than this game. Can't believe I'm saying it again. I mean, it took me 2 years of constant back and forth arguing between friends and family that Andor is actually good Star Wars and you need to check it out, trust me. But not after all the shit that's been out over the past decade. Remind you of anyone, Ubisoft? But then I watched Andor and it's the best Star Wars thing ever created. So Prince of Persia Lost Crown is a platforming Metroidvania with some light combat thrown in to mix things up. Now, I usually don't play games with such a heavy focus on platforming because it's my kryptonite and would hate to appear like a hardcore gamer that sucks at video games. But since Ubisoft makes games for casuals, that the platforming wouldn't be too hard for me. Dude! How the f— Now, there are optional challenges that I couldn't even finish as they were above my skill level, but most of them are totally manageable, and some of them is totally because I suck. That was like 25 minutes to get that one stupid thing. I should have gotten that in like in a minute. Now, outside the usual Metroidvania upgrades, there are some abilities that make the platforming extra fun, like this one they call Clairvoyance, where you can shift the solidity of these platforms with either a simple button press or hitting this bell. And the challenge is not some insane timing, just your skill of managing maybe facing left or right to dictate if a platform is in or out. If you've ever played a game like Worldless, you understand the relief Lost Crown is when the platforming is done right. The other unique ability is this Shadow Time clone that outside basic pressure plates can get really creative, having to place them over these motion activated platforms, fall down, then call yourself backwards in time to that shadow clone you just placed to get on top of it. These feel so great to pull off, but it gets even better. You see, Prince of Persia is a franchise known for time-bending powers. I've known this since 2009 when I played the only Prince of Persia game that was way too easy, where you couldn't even fail, and that must have bored 16-year-old me because I never played any other Prince of Persia games since then. All of this is to say that there are platforming puzzles throughout the game that require you to create multiple clones doing a sequence of actions that starts out easy, then leads to you needing to become a manager of multiple versions of yourself, write down the sequence of events that leads to you eventually beating this challenge. So for a game that focuses on platforming, made by Ubisoft, it has plenty of depth, variety, and challenge that never felt too forgiving, nor too precise, but just right. Then you have this.
Here's a mortal. One who searches for something out of reach.
Oh, yes. Giant, strong, muscular demon lady.
He is coming.
Huh? That lovely demoness upgrades your weapons and amulets. Now, you would think that a game that has such great platforming would then have mediocre combat, as you can rarely be great at both. You have to pick a lane, usually. Okay, the story sure did suck, and I skipped all of it, but hey, name a game that can have all three. Yeah, it's not so easy, but very quickly you'll realize that enemies in this game will have movesets and combos. You'll encounter locked rooms with enemies that offer something unique each time instead of just filling a room with a bunch of random enemies. Then you have the one thing that gets me hard. Now say it with me, a parry system. Now, the parry is way too easy and it's very binary, so it's pretty average on the parry spectrum, but Rule of Cool does prevent it from ever getting stale. I know, that is pretty cool. Every single enemy has a unique parry and kill animation. I'm sorry to bring this up, but I kind of forgot to mention this earlier. Did you know that Blasphemous 2 didn't give every enemy a unique kill animation? You get this anti-boner kill animation instead. Then Lost Crown was like, I heard you need to regain your boner. You like bosses, right? Well, we made sure to give you a wide variety of mini bosses. Some of them were definitely way too easy. Sure, some might have been even stolen from God of War. A lot of the times you end up fighting multiple versions of yourself because you're stuck in a time loop for story reasons that I don't really understand, but why bother asking why you're having to kill all of your friends? It's all just a misunderstanding.
I won't believe anything you say.
How can you say that?
What might also be a misunderstanding is that every boss has some of these Overwatch-style attack cutscenes that people complain about because they're always unskippable. Maybe it's because you died a lot to the bosses and you suck. Each boss goes way harder than it has any right to be given it's made by Ubisoft, and I hope these developers make the next Monster Hunter so it would finally have good boss fights in that franchise. Then each boss has attacks you can parry, and doing so during bosses will fill up this meter so you can use abilities that can either do massive damage or go defensive and heal you. Then there are the yellow glowing mega attacks that if you mess up the parry will trigger a cutscene that will most likely kill you. But if you are able to pull off the parry, you will get more stupidly awesome, over-the-top, anime-style cutscenes that I have purposely slowed down the cadence of my speech so I can showcase some of them off to you. Now you might be thinking this should be at the top of the fictional ranking video, so what's the downside? Well, the game would freeze randomly and it was easily over 30 times throughout the entire game. And the last bad thing? Well, that concludes me talking positively about Ubisoft then. I am not a weeb is what I would have said before 2021, because I don't really watch anime outside a few. I have never enjoyed and played a JRPG that I didn't quit. Then in that year of 2021, there was Ender Lilies, the first ever weeb-like game that I took a gamble on because I love Metroidvanias and I can forgive playing as a little girl if the game doesn't suck. So when it got a sequel, Ender Magnolia, that came out at the beginning of the year, you bet your goddamn ass I would break my rule of never pre-ordering. So what is Ender Magnolia? You play as an adorable little child named Lilac that for the longest time I didn't know if it was a boy or girl. I can't tell, that could be a boy or a girl. Femboy, I don't know. If you knew instantly, that's probably because you're more of a weeb than I am. It took years of therapy when I finally realized that this here is a dude.
But I don't want to become a femboy.
Too late, master. Pretty good.
Ender Magnolia has a story that continues after the events of its first game but isn't needed, but will reward those who did play when you get the true ending that I won't spoil here. Oh, we got the white attire, baby. I do need to say that I forgot what the story is about, as it falls into the classic reason I don't care a lot about anime. There's a ton of dialogue that tries to explain so much lore that trying to read and understand it all is too much to contain in my dumbass brain. Thankfully, there is a small cast of characters that you meet that have a simple enough backstory and quests tied to them that I could understand just enough, as their stories were more personal and conveyed well enough to the visuals and felt with the music. But the summary of the story is the rich people at the top are using and abusing the poor and unfortunate below. So very relatable. Speaking of music, there are very few games that I could say that the music alone could sell you on the game. Not just the main theme song or the boss songs, that one iconic one, or the end credits song. It's made by a band called Millie that is a mixture of soft-spoken singing and strings that is best described as ASMR for your soul. I sadly though can't play most of the songs because I have in the past, and despite the nice comments, it instantly demonetizes the video, and that fucking sucks to lose literally hundreds of dollars and invalidate months of your hard work because of that. So I won't make that mistake here and play any of the copyrighted music. But if you haven't heard the music from this game or the band because you're afraid of liking weeb music, what are you worried it'll do to you?
It is annoyingly catchy though.
It's infectious.
But outside buying a game just for a new soundtrack, Ender Magnolia has amazing visuals with this edgelit CGI effect that doesn't suck like anime shows try to do to save on money, and it looks terrible. I don't think you understand how beautiful this is. No other Metroidvania or Souls-like has this bonfire, or benches that they call it, in this game that has so many locations. It always makes me waste so much goddamn time to sit down and record all these clips just to showcase a fraction of the peak art that you will see in Ender Magnolia. If all that wasn't great enough, then you have the gameplay. In the combat, you basically collect abilities from bosses you kill that become your attacks that are cooldown based, so it's kind of an action RPG made by Blizzard, but good. You don't do any of the killing though, as you are too innocent and young and don't want to lose that by doing the killing yourself, similar to healthcare in America. There are more abilities than you can hold, so you can mix and match for your playstyle. Now, not all abilities are even taken from bosses, and you don't even need to kill most of them. To not bore you, you are what they call an attuner, basically a wizard that can summon the souls of what the game calls homunculi, which are the machines that serve the rich but have souls that you sadly need to kill because virus. Most of them are cannon fodder, but the ones that are powerful enough become bosses that you end up fighting and trying to save, that become your attacks that can be useful both in combat and being able to reach hard to get spots and exploring. I do love that each boss has a move that you see while fighting them and then becomes a new move for you, like parry if you bring this guy along. This one dashes while he shoots at you, so you can now dash across so many rooms to figure out how to get to this goddamn little item over here that took way longer to figure out than I'm willing to admit because I'm stupid. Like walking into lasers that you know will insta-kill you, but you stupidly do it anyways. Now, the bosses that you end up fighting and then collecting their attacks have personalities now that each have a backstory that will get you to feel sorry for them, kind of like Demon Slayer before it got stale. They react to the events of the world, and you can talk to them, of course, while sitting down on those beautiful benches. Now, if you love depressing backstories, most bosses will have one, like this Birdman, whose master was this cute child, and he gets so sad that she's now got a new robot friend that is clearly a straight downgrade. Oh, the guy's just completely obliterated. He died again. Each ability also has an ultimate that you can use sometimes, which might look and sound like that would break the game, but now we get to the only flaw of Ender Magnolia. I crave challenge, and so I choose hard because the game is worth it to me to do that. You don't have to, as the game does have insane damage from basic enemies that some of you might not enjoy, so just lower the difficulty. But eventually, around halfway through the game, I found a broken build where with these charms that I'm showing you right here, especially the one that heals you 1 HP per hit when chained with all these abilities, trivialized every encounter and did what I hate in a boss fight. I mean, first tried this guy, man. Like, I played on hard and like this, it's like, problem is, like I told you, once I know of an OP ability, like I'm gonna use it, because like why would I not? I feel like I'm cheating. Now, you might enjoy blazing through enemies and bosses, but as a masochist, this was not something I enjoy. I mean, when going for the true ending and the final form of the last boss, I eventually did die nearly a dozen times, even with my broken build that at least prevented the ending from being lackluster. I would go as far as to say that if you want challenge or even crazy boss fights, Ender Magnolia isn't its strongest suit. Prince of Persia did bosses better in my opinion, but every game on this list hopefully was explained well enough to understand why, outside Blasphemous 2, each game was worth playing. If you enjoyed this new format, let me know. This takes a lot of time to make, given how many hours of footage each game gives, and the logistics of that is a nightmare, and so corners had to be cut. Let me know what you think of the games. For the next one, I know I'll be covering games that use music, so if you know of any, let me know, and thanks for watching.